Alright guys, what's up? Today I'm going to be bringing you a walkthrough on how to unlock the Genesis endgame camo as quickly as possible. I'm going to show you where you want to level your character, and I'm also going to show you how to progress through the zones until you get to about 30, where you can start going to the grind spot, and you can start farming XP a lot quicker, and you can start farming those headshots, critical kills, point blanks, whatever you choose to do for the Genesis camo. I'm also going to show you the grind spot for specials, which will be your gold challenge, and then I will show you the spot for elites. The one for Chromaflux you can also do in the same exact place that you would normally do your critical kills, so it's redundant to repeat that. But also I'm going to give you guys some tips and show you guys some of the camo challenges that are actually bugged and ways that you guys can avoid having that bug. This also applies to multiplayer, by the way. We're actually going to start with that. When it comes to the bugged camo challenge, you'll notice that some weapons make you use attachments whenever you're going for X amount of kills. And the reason why this is bugged is, you'll notice, if you look at the top left, you'll see all of the dots on the weapon, which indicate that I have every attachment equipped. But then, when I put on a camo, you'll notice I have one less attachment, even if I have the exact same amount of attachments on the weapon. This is what's causing you to bug out. So if you guys are going for an attachment challenge that says eight attachments on the weapon, or any attachment challenge, I would probably take the camo off. I don't know why this is a bug. I don't know how this occurs, but it's got to be the camo. So that's what ended up fixing it for me. All right, so let's dive into a game, and we're going to actually just walk you guys through the leveling process. There's probably more efficient ways to level. I'm sure there's plenty of places where you can get combat rating a lot higher. I think I've seen some people post it. So if you guys want to follow a different leveling guide, you're more than welcome to do so. I'm just going to show you how I did it, because I obviously didn't know about these leveling tricks before, or they just recently have been released. So show you guys how I leveled. If you want to use this, you can. If not, you guys can go ahead and look up a leveling guide. But everything else that I'm going to show you, unless something drastically new comes out in the future, will probably still be relevant, because all it is going to spots to grind certain mobs, which you are going to need to kill in order to progress your camo. Or if you guys just want to go farm weapon XP, this area that I'll show you to grind those will also be very, very efficient. So yeah, man, appreciate y'all. And if you guys enjoy this tutorial or find it helpful, make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe to the channel. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to show you guys how to level. And what I found the easiest is, you see these quad-core sites, they look like a nuclear symbol. You're going to want to go to those, and you're going to want to basically spam them, but not finish the contract.
I got your back.
And what that's going to do is, once you activate it, it's just going to spawn mobs over and over and over again, which you are going to kill and farm for XP. You can also, if you want, if you're just bored and don't want to do that, just go around and do contracts. They're going to get you levels, they're going to get you XP. It's going to be a lot easier. We're actually going to go over
There's a command center nearby leaking toxin.
one of the quad-core sites over here in the level 1 area, just so I can show you what it's like. It's super chill, doesn't require any effort, and then you are going to basically progress through the zones as you level up and do harder and harder quad-core sites, which will make things a lot easier, or a lot faster rather, until you pretty much get to level 30. So we're actually in tier 2 zone, and I don't see one nearby that I can actually show you. All right, now that we've arrived at the quad-core site, like I told you, this contract, I'm just gonna kill the mobs around it. All right, get your headshots, do what you ever need to do. You're gonna turn this on, and you're gonna hold it and start it. And then you're not gonna touch it again. And all that's gonna happen is enemies are gonna spawn, and you're just gonna sit here. You can even use this to progress camos as you get XP. You're just gonna kill these mobs over and over and over. It seems really easy at first, but you're just gonna use it to get yourself some extra levels. If you're pretty confident in your skills as a player, you could always try to do one in level 2, but starting at combat rating level 1, I would just be careful, because you have no extra abilities, no perks, stuff like that, and it's just gonna get a little bit harder to do any damage or not take as much damage. But these are pretty trivial. You'll just do this and level for a while. You want to go over to tier 2 zone, maybe wait until you get to at least like level 10, and then just head on over there and do the same thing at these sites. But I would 100% recommend level 30 before you go to the tier 3 grinding site, where you will do your headshots and level for the rest of the time, because that's mainly what you're going to do. And that's going to be the longest challenge in this grind. It's going to be headshots and point blanks and basically getting to gold. Once you get to gold and you have gold on every weapon, everything gets a lot easier. Now I'm going to actually show you guys where the grinding spot is for people that hit level 30 plus and want to go and grind those critical kills and actually not have trouble like killing the mobs. Because the way that weapon power works in this game is you do gain bonus damage as you level up. But once you hit 45, your final bonus damage, or yeah, your final damage bonus gets applied to your character. And I think there's another one at level 30 and 20. I could be wrong. I don't really remember the exact numbers, but it will tell you. And then obviously when you're level 60, you'll be a lot stronger, and you'll have pretty much all the perks. And the perks we'll go over after we finish showing you guys where the run is. While I'm actually here, this is going to be a little bit out of order. There are very specific challenges that you need to do for certain weapons. Some of them will have you kill human enemies, some of them will have you kill Guildtech, and then some of them will have you kill other things. So one of them allows you to kill drones. And so the way that you'll do these challenges is you will go to any of these surveillance controls anywhere around the map. The ones in the higher tier areas will spawn drones a lot quicker, and there'll be more of them. And all you will do is shoot them once. That way they start and they look at you. And then you just basically can stand in one spot as long as there's not any enemies around, and shoot these out of the sky. If you shoot these out of the sky, they will count for that challenge. And you will just sit here and wait. And I think you need 25 of them for that challenge. Not to be confused with Guildtech enemies. Guildtech enemies is all the way down in the old arsenal, and we will show you that rotation for that as well. Alright, so once you've hit level 30 or 35, you're going to want to head over to the far western side of the map, and you are going to go along the edge. And all you are going to do, and this is pretty much the grind spot for both Chromaflux and the initial critical kills, and pretty much any other challenge that doesn't force you to kill specific enemies, except for fears. Fears are a specific enemy that you will need to kill for some weapons, and you're going to find them pretty much all over this area as you're grinding. These are the fears, actually. So you're going to head to this part of the map and just go all up and down this coastline. I would stop at the top of this area and start coming backwards. Or if you want to just camp out here and run back and forth like through these areas, you will. But all that's going to happen is a bunch of these mobs will spawn along the edge or somewhere out in these fields not too far away from you. And you are going to use them to farm kills and headshots for every single one of the weapons in the game in order to get the camo. The reason I tell you to be careful here and not be too low level is since it's a tier 3 zone, and sometimes these guys can spawn, they can, give you some trouble and do some damage to you and hurt you. This is by far and away the most efficient place. Just continue to grind headshots for your weapon or any sort of kills. If you're using a launcher, you can wait for them to group and then just shoot a rocket at the ground. And you'll never run out of ammo because they'll keep dropping you ammo packs. But yeah, the only thing I would recommend is, again, being the appropriate level and always trying to get a weapon that is leveled up, right? You can go to any of these strongholds is what I call them, but they're basically the castle symbol on the map. If I can find one, I'll actually show you what they look like if no one's done any of them. But yeah, this castle, it's called a command center. If you go into these command centers and kill the boss in them, you will be allowed to upgrade your weapon to a rarity that is correlated to the zone. So in tier 1, you'll have green weapons. Tier 2, you'll have blue weapons. Tier 3, you'll have purple weapons, and in Tier 4, you will have gold weapons. So I would recommend every time you come in, you at the very least try to upgrade your weapon to blue or purple, especially if you are progressing through this area or on your way to said area, in order to grind the headshots. If you want to go for a gold gun, you can, or an orange weapon. All that you need to do is either wait for somebody to finish the command center, and once you see that the orange hollow is up, that means somebody killed the boss. And all you have to do is go to that area and run inside and upgrade your weapon at the bench. And typically there shouldn't be many, if any, enemies at all inside of it, so it should be relatively easy to go in there, get what you need, and get the fuck out. As far as perks and stuff like that that'll make this endgame grind easier, I will go over those after I finish showing all of the grind spots for everything when we're back in the pregame lobby. But again, this is where you will go to farm all of your basic military and special challenges up until you hit gold. As you can see, a ton of these mobs spawn all up and down this coastline, and it's just going to make this a lot quicker than going anywhere else to farm enemies. But you do need to be a decent level. I would recommend 30 or higher, and making sure that you at the very least upgrade your weapons so you are killing as quickly as possible.
There's a guild
so now that I've shown you where the grind spot is, I'm going to show you how to upgrade your weapon and some tips and tricks that you could use while also going for headshots. Because typically when you do these headshot challenges, you'll probably finish a gun or two to gold and then have to exfil. But once you get closer to the end and you need less and less weapons, you're going to want to end up going towards these strongholds, these command centers, and doing them in order to find weapons that you might need in the crates inside. And every command center is different. So the ones that are in higher tier zones actually have more crates that spawn that have different weapons in them. And you want to check every single crate in the building to make sure that it doesn't have a weapon that you need. Because if it has a weapon that you need and you have ample time to finish, well, you may as well grab the weapon that you need and go back to farming headshots. Again, you don't need to come all the way over here to do it. There's command centers in every zone, and typically when you're up here, there'll be one or two. And sometimes people don't do them. And that's the best case scenario, because if people don't do them, these crates will be active in here, and they'll have weapons for you to grab and continue to farm if you still have time available. This is the crafting bench where you will go and upgrade your rarity whenever you are upgrading your weapon, and they have them in every single command center and only in command centers. But the trick is with these is as long as you don't kill the boss, the guy like the Titan that I killed, these crates will always be here holding those weapons. But once you kill that boss, if you leave the area, eventually those crates are going to despawn, so you won't have access to these weapons anymore. And you'll have to go to a different command center or find another way or exfil to bring in weapons back into the map and continue to grind them. But again, I would recommend upgrading your weapon to at least a blue, purple, or gold at any point during your runs. It'll just make killing things a little bit easier. I wouldn't go to the grind spot with unupgraded weapons, and typically as you get higher level, especially once you're like definitely level 30 or 45, it really doesn't require much effort to come to any of these zones, grab the weapons that you need, and get the fuck out whenever you are ready to go and farm your camo. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to show you where to find Guildtech enemies. So you'll need 50 of these enemies for a couple of the weapons in the game, and this is the best place to do it. You're going to come to the old arsenal. It's on the bottom right of the map. It's kind of annoying getting here, especially if you're in the farming zone. And you're going to be looking for these GR5s, and you're going to kill them. And you're basically just going to do a whole circle around the map and kill any of the GR5s that you see, and they will all count towards the camo. Now I'm basically just going to do one whole rotation in order to show you guys where all the spawn points could be. There's some that could spawn here, and there's some that could spawn here. Unfortunately, they did it. There's also some that could spawn here in this building and here in front of me. But you're just going to keep running and doing a circle once you're familiar with all the spawn points and where they're spawning. Then you will know. Also, tip, clear this command center every time when you're doing this, because it's going to accelerate the spawns of the robot enemies that are in this area. Typically, there's like 2 or 3 of them that are roaming here, and once you kill the guild command center, it's going to start spawning them. So clear it every time if it's not cleared. I'm just going to keep roaming around the map. There's some that can spawn here in these warehouses, here in this alleyway. And then you're just going to keep doing a circle. And I'm fairly sure the reason why they haven't spawned is because we have not done the command center. But doing the command center when they start making them spawn, I would 100% recommend doing it. And then, yeah, you're just going to do an entire circle around this area until you kill 50 of them. Typically, with one circle, you should get about like 10 or 13 of them. And you're just going to have to keep doing circles, and they'll respawn as you go. Another conditional camo that you will have to grind for is actually the gold challenge. The gold challenge is done by going to the Coliseum and farming the raider enemies, which are considered special enemies, while you're there.
Give me access through your C-Link and I'll overheat
And I will
the
show you the
station.
exact rotation
The guild
and
has
all the
charging
spawn
stations
points
nearby.
for
They'd hate it
the
if they went
raiders
offline.
that are possible. And typically the way spawns for the special enemies work in this game is every single game there's a set spawn point for the mobs, and they will typically spawn there the entire game. So for example, there are spawn points for raiders here where I am in this tent, sometimes one right here, and then one right here, and these are all considered special enemies. But if they're not spawning here, chances are they probably won't spawn here for the entire match. The more common spawns are towards this direction. There's one in here, as you can see. There's some that spawn in this area here. Oh, these actually just respawn down here. Yeah, here it is. And then there's some that spawn right over here. If you guys are grinding for raiders, you would check this area, check that area, and then there's even more of them over here, so you'll just keep running in this direction. Some can spawn in this archway. There's one that could spawn here. There's some that could spawn in this archway here, as so. And then there's some that could spawn in this archway. And then once you've killed all of these, and you're waiting for the next ones to spawn, you will run over to this area to the north. Then you will follow this rotation and find the other spawners. So there are some there's one that spawns right here usually. And then there's two that spawn in this building.
The guild uses UAVs to transport toxic samples. Find a
And then there's
scientist to get us
two
access.
that will spawn over here. So what you'll do is you'll just run this path back and forth in order to get your special kills. And if you're quick and the spawns are in your favor, you could actually get all 20 special kills in like 5 or 10 minutes max. You would just run back and forth through this area and kill specials. This is for the gold challenge again. Next thing I'm going to show you is the rotation to grind elite mobs for the final challenge in order to unlock the final camo. What is it called? Genesis. So what you're going to do is you're going to come to Lowtown over here on the map, and you're going to follow this rotation and check all of these spawn points until you know which spawn points are typically active, and then just rotate between them. So for example, here's one of them. We'll end up just coming here, killing this elite, right? And then there's some spawn points over here.
You're near a crashed guild UAV. Worth checking for intel.
In this building. There's a spawn point over here in this building. There's a spawn point over here in this building. Usually on that balcony. There's also a spawn in this building right here. And then there's a spawn in this building down here. And then if you've checked all those, there's also a spawn point over here. Down in this building. Usually on this roof or underneath this on this balcony. There's another spawn or two here. So yeah, here's another one. We basically just come here and kill these elites. single challenge. And then there's also another one here. And also, this is a cool tip. So whenever you get to this step, the worst thing that you can do is go in, finish a weapon or two, and then exfil. The best thing you can do is go in, finish a weapon or two, and every time you finish a weapon, what you're going to want to do is kill the elites until they drop a briefcase. And this briefcase will have 2 legendary weapons in it. It might not be your favorite attachments, but they'll be legendary weapons. And you can pick those up and then continue the rotation, so you can knock multiple guns out in one run. And now they're going to go show you the other spawn points. But another way that you can see where the enemies spawn is typically as you roam the map. If you pull up your mini-map, you can see where the elites are, ping them, and go kill them.
Got eyes on
The ones I wouldn't waste my time on is the ones that spawn on the street, because they are the zombie ones. And then typically this one right here, I also wouldn't waste my time on, unless you have a very strong weapon, because the Titan is very tanky and takes ages to kill. As you can see, there's another spawn point here in this building.
I've traced comms to a guild officer.
I'm not gonna bother killing him because I'm just too lazy. There's a spawn in this building sometimes, right here. There's also a spawn on this roof here. And this is a spawn right here. So these are all the spawn points for the elite enemies, and you will just basically rotate back and forth through these areas. But once you know where like 4 of the spawns are that are active during this game, typically the other ones won't be active. So you can just rotate from the known spawn points during this map and just create your own little circle where you will basically go back and forth from all of these areas and wait for them to spawn. Typically, you don't have to wait long. Once you do a full circle around the map and come back to your original position, most of the enemies will be back. So it's really not difficult at all to do. It's just, you gotta be careful. It's a little dangerous, but the sniper elites are typically pretty weak and they don't take a lot of effort to kill. So again, make sure you come to Lowtown and pretty much just do a circle at first around this area. Get familiar with where all the spawn points are, and then go out there and start farming. It helps to bring people, so if you and a friend are on the same step, or you have a friend that wants to help you come and kill elites, then I would definitely bring him along and ask him to help you. Alright, now you know how to level. As you start to level, you will notice that your character will have these little pop-ups at the bottom of your screen every time you hit certain milestones or level up once, which will allow you to gain an ability or a trait or basically spec your character. So I'm going to go and show you every single skill track, and I'm going to tell you the ones that I feel like are the most important, especially when going through the camo grind. Obviously, some of these are different and better for certain things, especially if you plan to play this mode outside of just camo grinding or want to make another character to experience what these are like. But I'm going to tell you the ones that I use and the ones that I think are probably the best. So in the gunner skill tree, you're going to have reload speed. Obviously, reloading quicker is going to let you dump more mags faster, which is going to in turn make it quicker to kill. Fast replay. Fast replating is good because it allows you to plate quicker, especially if you start to take damage. Fast weapon swap is okay, but it's not that important. But if you do get the gunner skill tree, because every single character gets 3 skill tracks, and I don't really know how they're dictated in terms of what you actually gain, but I'm pretty sure that most of the people, if you're just going for camos, you'll probably end up with something similar because these are all combat aspects of the game. But I'll still show you every single other one in case you guys end up getting those pop-ups as well. So, ammo auto refill is good because your magazine ammos will slowly fill over time. So as you're there for a long time, and let's say you don't get any drops of ammo for a while, will be good. Aiming expert just lets you ADS more accurately when jumping, sliding, and diving. It's not that important. And then shocking reload is kind of nice, but it's not really that good. Every time you reload, well, not every time, it's on a cooldown, but when you reload, you're just going to like shock enemies around you and they're going to freeze in place. It's going to make it easier for you to hit shots on them. The Berserker tree is the one that used to be meta. or not the Berserker tree, the Bulldozer tree was the one that used to be meta because it allowed you to get this tackle ability. When you would slide, dive, or tack sprint, it would knock down enemies and do damage to them, and it used to count as crits, but it's not as important anymore. However, some of these other traits are still pretty good. For example, armor regen, it automatically regens 1 armor plate. Point blank, you deal more damage with weapons at point blank range, which is going to be good for your shotguns or any other guns, especially if you're farming camos and those enemies, the little fears, keep getting close to you. Adrenaline rush, you deal bonus damage while at low health. It's not that important because you're never really going to be at low health unless you're really weak. Survival protection, revive squad mates temporarily take reduced damage, also works with self revive. Really not that important, and you're probably not going to use this much. Explosive resistance reduces damage taken from explosives. You probably won't get much use of this. So really the only two that are pretty good are armor regen and point blank. The other ones are not that important. You want to see the rest? So in the surgeon tree, these are probably not going to be very important for camo grinding, but it's actually not that bad if you get some of them. For example, health recovery. Your health recovery starts sooner after you stop taking damage, so you're going to heal quicker. Last Stand Fighter, survive longer in Last Stand, upgrades Last Stand pistol, and provides more ammo. I don't think that's the best. Agile Handling, fire your weapon while sprinting and walk faster while aiming down sights. I think... Agile Handling, fire your weapon while sprinting and walk faster while aiming down sights. I think that one's pretty good for combat. Heal faster, increases your healing speed, but typically you're not going to be taking match damage, so it doesn't matter. Fast revive, revive yourself and your squad faster. Revives replenish all health and temporarily boost. Not too good, not too bad. Off the floor, revive yourself when you get a kill in Last Stand. This is a very good one if you're camo grinding, because if you do go down, kill one of the enemies, you just automatically revive. It's pretty damn good. Daredevil is probably one of the next best trees because it allows you to move around the map as quickly as possible. It's going to give you some movement traits that are nice. So let's go through them. Dive Bomber, diving aggressively to the ground with the wingsuit triggers a concussive blast. Not that good. Wingsuit Glider, improves wingsuit handling and hang time. This one is the best to have because when you are going around the map, you're always going to be in that wingsuit trying to dive off of heights or using the grappling hook in order to grapple onto things and launch yourself in the air so that way you can get around quicker. This is definitely super important. Thick Skin, take less damage from enemy melee attacks. Not so important. Super Slider, sliding distance and speeds are increased. Definitely really good. Reload and Run, reloading temporarily boosts movement speed. Very good. And then Slide Explosion, diving and sliding triggers an explosion. Not too good. Not really important. Tactician doesn't really matter. This just is related to a lot of equipment. So you're never really using a lot of equipment when doing this. So I wouldn't even go over it. Then you have the Berserker tree, which is really good for this challenge because it's all killing things. Fast weapon fire, it's basically rapid fire, or those of you guys that play zombies, double tap. You want to max this out. Kills regen armor, another good one because you're going to be getting a ton of kills when you're doing this. So this is a really good one to get. Crit chain speed boost, rapid critical kills, temporarily boost your movement speed. Again, really good because you're going to be going for headshots, so you want those crits to give you a speed boost. Endurance Sprinter, reload while tack sprinting, tack duration, and sprint fire time improved. Pretty good, but not necessary. Fall damage reduction, reduces fall damage, not that important. Then Fall Explosion, trigger an explosion when you land. Again, not that important. So yeah, those are the perks that I would go for. As for your major abilities, the best one to have, and the only one that you should be picking, is Crash Cart. It instantly revives down squad mates within range and provides temporary invulnerability for a short time. Can be used to self-revive when down. So basically, it's a second self-revive. If you go in there solo without squad fill, they give you a self-revive, and then the major ability allows you to have a second one. You always have this one in case you go down. And then the minor ability, Grappling Hook and Kinetic Jump are the best. They both let you get airtime, and they let you pop your wingsuit so that way you can get around the map quicker. However, I didn't really like Kinetic Jump. I felt like there was a glitch with it where sometimes I would pop it and spam my wingsuit button, and it wouldn't let me pop the wingsuit, which would end up making me fall to the ground, and then launching me back up second time for whatever reason. It's almost like it queued the action, and it didn't let me do it. I stuck with the Grappling Hook, but you're welcome to try Kinetic Jump if you'd like to. But yeah, combine these two, and yeah, that's going to be the best ones to have for the abilities. That's going to pretty much do it. I think I went over every single camo challenge that required you to do certain enemies. I told you guys how to upgrade weapons. I told you how to be as efficient as possible by going to those sites and grabbing multiple weapons during your run, and then ultimately planning how you were going to do things. Also, one thing that I do recommend is also finishing weapons or weapon classes as you go. Because what that's going to allow you to do is as you finish those weapon classes, right, and get everything to gold, now you are going to need to do Moonstone for those weapon classes. And let's say you have an SMG, but you finished all of your AR's gold. If you go and find an assault rifle on the ground, or not on the ground, but through one of those weapon crates, you can still progress one of the camo challenges on it. So you can go and grab an assault rifle after you finished all your weapons, and you can head back to the grinding spot with that assault rifle, and that will count towards your Moonstone challenges. So do the weapons in order, or at least in tiers. So if you're going to do SMGs and get them gold, do the SMGs gold first. Then do the assault rifles gold. And as you're working on the assault rifles, if you find SMGs on the ground and you can't find another assault rifle to continue progressing them, you can still make progress on the SMGs for Moonstone. And that goes for all of the camo challenges. Don't just get in, get out after you finish a weapon or two. Get in, finish the weapons. If you're quick enough, you can go and pick up weapons and go back to the grinding spot before you exfil. As for exfilling, always try to exfil from a lower tier zone. If you don't have time, do not exfil from a level 4 zone. It's going to be a lot harder. And if you're high level, you can still exfil from a level 3 zone or level 2 zone without a problem. But just make sure that you plan accordingly. Try to get to an exfil by the 5-minute mark and no later. Otherwise, you risk basically losing your character. I would definitely not try to push that. Try to get there by 5 minutes, especially if you're relatively strong. You can even maybe get there at 3 minutes, but it is timed. You have to kill certain enemies in a certain amount of time. They're often slow to spawn, and then oftentimes you have to kill an elite. And if you do that in the tier 4 or tier 3 zones, those elites are pretty tanky, even if you're maxed out. So it can take you some time to kill them. One piece of equipment that I would recommend bringing, especially for killing elites in case you run into any and need to kill them, is combat axes. Combat axes do a fuck ton of damage to the elite mobs. It helps you kill them faster. So I even used these during the final challenge where I had to kill elites for Chromaflux. Especially if I didn't have strong weapons. I would just throw my combat axes on them, or I would use another weapon on top of the combat axes, weaken them, and then swap, and then kill them with the weapon I need the camo on. But outside of that, that's going to be everything. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like, leave a sub. I'd appreciate it a lot, man. I'm basically trying to put out guides for every single one of the camos. If there are more efficient ways to do things, or any sort of cheese, feel free to drop it in the comments. This is just how I did it during my run, but I have no doubt there's going to be leveling guides for getting high combat rating really quickly. Again, I didn't have access to that stuff, so I couldn't really give you that information. But if there is, make sure you guys use those instead. All right, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, man, and good luck out there in grinding for your camo. Have a good one. Peace.